Hey, welcome back, everyone. During this pandemic, we have seen drastic increase in video on demand. Then we have seen increased number of live streaming, and also this commercial Bollywood movies are getting released on OTT platform, right? So, is this a new normal that we are going to see from now? To talk more about this, we have Rajnil Kumar from Z5. Over to you, Rajnil.
Thank you, Gaurav. Sorry to keep everybody waiting. I'm supposed to speak about video, and we had some video problems at my side where we were not able to share a presentation. So I've taken Gaurav's help to present the slides. So please don't mind, but I will be asking Gaurav to just first maximize the screen and then help me in going navigating through this. So we have 20 minutes. The video is a very vast area, and I don't think we'll be able to talk about everything. But if you go to the next slide, some of the key things that I would like to talk to you guys about is what are we doing at Z5, because video is our business. Video is one more thing that a lot of other businesses do. For us, video is the business. And we have a pretty well laid out plan on how we deal with this. And I will walk you through some of the areas that we have been working on and are working on in the new normal, as we call it. So, Gaurav, to the next slide. It all starts with understanding the user and understanding what are the user personas that we are trying to address to. What is the time that they spend on the platform? And when we see our own metrics, we see that the users are spending at least about 45 minutes on the platform every day, listening to songs. They also watch television, which could be upwards of an hour every day. And gamers typically, spend between 30 to 40 minutes every day gaming. And the kind of audience personas that we look at are the youth, the family, and all of them have different needs, which we try to cater to. So if you go forward, if you look at the day of a typical user that we benchmark, you're looking at a 11 p.m. You're looking at a 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. There are different day parts that a user does various things in, whether listening to devotional songs or fitness in the morning, music videos, and all the way down to looking at about 2 o'clock cookery shows and lifestyle, then playing casual games, creating hyper short form content videos for the platform, which we're launching very shortly called Hippie, watching their favorite movies, and then essentially using the evening or the night time to watch a lot of content. We go forward, Gaurav. And what at Z5 we have been super focused on over the last 2 years has been creating a one-stop entertainment experience as a super app. The super app, when we envision, here we have listed down about 6 categories that we are looking at, on which we'll be addressing the users. And the users that we're looking at are kids, the hyper short form content generators and viewers, news as a category, gaming as a category, education as a category, and food and lifestyle as a category. And all of this, of course, outside of our core business, which is video around our broadcast content as well as our original content. Moving forward. So on the way to becoming a super app, what we have been doing is investing heavily in technology. And this technology cuts across everything that we do. Some of the areas that I could speak about are, while the mobile applications have always been a great focus, the web is not a neglected part either. On the web, when we look at what we launched in the year in 2019, in December last year, was a progressive web app, which makes essentially browsing on low-powered handsets across the country extremely easy for people, where we're not talking about any memory constraints on the phone. We're not talking about low processing power, everything happening through essentially the browser. So making it extremely seamless for users to be able to consume the content. We also work very closely with all our global partners, whether it is Google or Microsoft or Amazon, to be able to use all the best-in-class services that they have to provide a very seamless experience to the user. Go forward. And all of this is layered around something that we call personalization, and not only personalization, but hyper-personalization. And here we use a lot of advanced AI and ML tools to be able to personalize right from the first time a user comes onto the platform to how the consumption goes on the platform after we start learning about it. We also, so if you know, and I'm sure 100% of you would know what an OTT platform looks like, In an OTT platform, you have rows of content. How to make that content more engaging for a user, to be able to make something more relevant? How do I, within a screen, be able to show you first the content which is more relevant, and after that, show the user some motion in that content piece which can entice or get the user into the platform? That's why we use an APV technology. This APV technology essentially scrapes through all of our video to be able to understand the video first. Then it creates the user segment and understands the past behavior of the user, and is then able to automatically generate previews for the right user at the right time, therefore leading to click-throughs. So that's something very interesting and cool, like we say that we do, which has resulted in upwards of 51% increase in content click-throughs month on month. Moving forward, at the heart of our entire business is data. And in data, we have what we call a CDP. This is a customer data platform, and in which we collect, ingest, and segment all the data. And this becomes the fuel from which everything runs. I spoke about the kind of content that we carry. I spoke about the kind of users that we carry. So you have users coming in from a browser. We have users coming in from mobile applications, users coming from iOS, and then users coming in from the television. And within television also, it could be somebody coming in from a Geo TV set-top box, or somebody coming in from an Android TV or an iOS. How do you personalize the experience for all of these users? Number one. Number two, if they are free users, or what we call AVOD users who have not subscribed, how do you create enough opportunities for them to be prompted to be able to subscribe and become a paid consumer? All of this happens at the CDP. This is a custom built CDP that we have been building, and it's a evolving journey that we do, where the audiences are segmented, and then the right kind of personalization for them is done, whether it is on consumption or it is on the marketing, which is all around the right kind of emails to be sent and the right kind of notifications to be sent. When it comes down to emails and notifications, what I would probably be of interest to a lot of people is that even the emails which are sent out is personalized to an N-1 level. So the email coming out to a user is personalized to them, which means it is not just addressing them by their name. It actually is looking at their content behavior and then being able to superimpose the content on every email, whether it is on recommendation or upcoming or a series that they have been watching, which they left at some point of time, and the next episode is here, and so that they are reminded that it's here and they can watch it. So that's really the power engine that we have at the heart of our entire business, which is a CDP. Moving forward. So we spoke a little about how we deal with the users and trying to personalize for them. A very strong stakeholder of our entire business is advertising, and there the advertising partners. What we have done is that very shortly we are launching a self-serve platform. A self-serve platform essentially opens up advertising for anybody in this country to be able to purchase their ads on the Z5 from anywhere without having to go through big agencies who we are in touch with. I'll give you another number. There are about, excuse me, there are about 4,000 advertisers that we would like to reach out to, but given the physical restraint of sales teams reaching out, we would probably not reach out to more than 400 to 500 clients on a month-on-month basis. What do you do with the other 4,500 people? And that's where the entire self-serve platform comes in, by being able to create an automated CLM program to reach out to them, inviting them onto the platform to come and open their account, and by using essentially just a credit card, being able to buy ads on Z5 as a platform. And when they're buying advertising on Z5 as a platform, it is a very data-rich experience, because just imagine this. One example that I always like to speak about is, once the hyper short-form content platform Hippie is live in a week or so, what we will have is, there's a food influencer who's based in Hyderabad. He or she has a great following in Hyderabadi cuisine and likes to put out videos which people like to enjoy about it, and has got millions of followers around it. There is a food chain which is Hyderabad based. They would like to advertise on the content which is based to this. Earlier, they would have to either go to they could not go to the influencer directly, because the advertising would come on the platform. So they would have to reach out to an agency. The agency would then get in touch with the sales team. There'll be a credit system set up, and then they would be able to place their ads. By launching the self-serve platform, essentially what happens is that food chain can go onto the platform, book inventory for the for the influencer that they want. And the freedom is that they don't need to only show their ads to the audiences of that influencer. They can actually get the influencer to create custom content for the brand and put it up on the platform. And all of this is happening virtually with absolutely zero contact from anybody else. 100% of transparency. There is transparency for the influencers to get paid out, which is, we think, very important in the new normal, to create a great platform in which influencers and creators of content have a way of monetizing their content. And on the other side, for the brands to be able to bring brand lift or direct reach campaigns for their product. Moving forward, so that's the self-serve platform. The optimization engine, which is very closely linked to the CDP, is the machine learning and the artificial intelligence that we use for doing everything that we do around personalization, video delivery, as well as advertising. So the optimization engine is the heart of what takes over from the CDP, for the customer data platform, and be able to optimize it for the objectives that we have. Going forward, coming to the core of what we were speaking about, video, and maybe I will spend some time in talking about this. India is a very complex country to deliver video to, and I have personally seen it over the last 10 years for sure, as video has exploded in the country. And over the last, not only at Z5, but even in my employment before this, video experience, which is supposed to be the simplest thing to do, because everybody's video experience is benchmarked on a remote control that they discovered. That remote control, you click a button and the TV comes on. And that's the video experience that the user wants on the phone. The user does not really care whether they have bought an iPhone 11 and has spent a kidney and a heart to be able to buy it, or they have bought a entry level smartphone which has less than 2 GB of processing power, 2 GB of RAM. It has 32 MB, 32 GB of storage space. The user does not care about that. The user says, if I see an application, I press on a thumbnail, the video has to play. So, and the consumer is absolutely right. And that is where we have spent a lot of time in understanding our audiences across the country. It's great to have 4G networks, but the 4G networks also have their own challenges. As far as when you are in motion, and all of us have experienced this, we are able to when we are trying to either work or see something on content when we are traveling, we do experience the lags which happen in the problem. So how do you solve this problem? And in this new normal, what we saw in the period of March is that the consumption almost doubled as soon as lockdown became on our platform. So while at one side it was a great problem to have, because we were able to multiply our subscriptions as well as users on the platform, but then there's the other problem which we as a country actually face. I don't know how many people are aware of it, but internet started to get choked up across the country, and there were directives issued by the government saying that all the large providers like us have to optimize the video that we are delivering, because the data says that 90% of every user during this period have been consuming video content. So if you take 90% of 600 odd million people, that's a large number of people who are consuming content on a day-by-day basis. We have also seen that the average consumption time have almost doubled during this, and which is where we had to optimize even further. Thankfully, we have been preparing. Excuse me. We have been preparing for this optimization for a very long time, where we have been, investing a lot in machine learning to understand the geography of the user, understand the kind of handsets they are coming from. Creating what you see here is a bitrate ladder. The bitrate ladder, essentially, if you look at the second column, this is the maximum bitrate that you serve to a user, and this is just a sample, but it goes from 120 going up to 2.7 MB, and this is what we fluctuate through when we are dealing with the device. So a user who has started to watch from a browser on the phone, and then translate, and then switches when he comes home, he or she switches off that phone, and then it starts to pick up the same content from television. We at the heart of it need to know that the user has shifted from X to Y, and then given the kind of network they are coming in, be able to optimize and serve the right experience to them. So we started to further optimize on all the bit rates that we were serving, and then were able to arrive at the right mix which we are serving now. But don't get me wrong, this is not a one-time activity which is saying that this is done and it carries forward. This is almost a daily or a second by second exercise, because every user comes online at a particular time, and we at that point, the machines have to make the right choice about what they will show to the user and how they will show to the user, which is where video engineering comes at the core of what we do. Moving along, Gaurav.
Yeah.
And some of the other things that we have been working on the video engineering side is changing the player, that we also went from a particular type of player to a different type of player. Player is at the heart of what the user sees. Having the most efficient and latest players in the market to be able to build that experience is important. Also, when you look at India, there are about over 13,000 devices that one has to cater to, and these 13,000 devices go across a spectrum of at least 7 different OS versions that you have to go. So you could be an Android 10, you could be an Android 7, and we support all the way down to an Android 4.4. So a user will have all of that. So imagine this OSs multiplied by 13,000 devices is the complexity that you're looking at to handle, and that is what the player needs to handle. What we do is not only constantly improve with what we see from a user data of what are the problems which are coming, and how do we bring down the video start failures, how do we bring down the exit before video starts, but also do extensive crowd testing across the geographies in India. We work with some fantastic companies which help us getting testers from across the country, right from Agartala to Cochin to Chennai, up to right up to the north and Maharashtra. Not only Maharashtra as in Bombay, but also going down to Nashik and so on and so forth. So getting actual users with a varied number of devices across the country to be able to test the playback on a week by week by week basis. That is how we focus on perfecting our video engineering delivery. Moving forward. So we spoke about the users and the kind of content we create. We spoke about the kind of content that gets delivered. We spoke a little about the kind of video engineering and how do we do a lot of the on-the-fly iterations to give the right experience. And also we spoke about personalization, both at the platform level, which is on the applications, and also how we deliver it to the users. All of this is great, but none of it will work if there is not a very intelligent architectural infrastructure which is monitoring everything. And to make sure that all of these systems are up and running every single time, what we have is a host of solutions that are running at every single second that we are operating. We have tools such as Sumo Logic, Instana, Pingdom. These are tools which measure every little journey that is happening, whether it is on the server, whether it's on the player, whether it's on the application. And then eventually we have actual people who are monitoring this data on a real-time basis. So what we have is a NOC. This NOC is like, you can imagine, I mean, I wish it was as cool, but imagine a NASA Space Center control, which has a number of screens looking at every user metric, which we are trying to have a control on, and then identifying any areas and solving for them. So that's really the monitoring tools that we create to be able to make sure that all our systems are running up in line. If we go forward, there's a couple of sample slides of how we look at it. The first one on the left shows the user's concurrency and by location that we're able to. This is at a global level because we are a global brand, but essentially for India, it gives us heat maps across the country of where users are coming from and what are the problem areas. This is very important because it could mean a couple of things. They are on a network which is not performing properly at this point of time. Therefore, we are able to, from our automated switching, switch the CDN that we are working with to deliver them a better experience without even the user knowing that something has been switched to be able to do it. And if there are outages, we are able to work with the network providers to be able to solve the last mile delivery which is happening. Going forward, some more examples of at the heart of all responses that come from an application to the server are APIs. I'm sure all of you are aware that the APIs are the connectors with which machines talk to another. So how do we make sure that all of the APIs are behaving properly? None of them are doing anything wrong, and if there is something wrong, we are fixing it. go forward. And then again, CMS, which I'm sure all of you are familiar with, monitoring that on real time. And application performance also, how we do it. So I think I'll leave it here. I mean, there is a much more, but we have 20 minutes. How we are doing a lot of work around the living room and making sure that the living room experience, which is very unique and different from what we see on the mobile, is also not only world class but innovating and leading ahead of world class. Those are the kind of work that we do. But I'm happy to answer any questions on this. I know it's a very short time to speak about such a complex and large subject, and I do hope I have done justice to it, and there are people here who can take away something from this. Gaurav, over to you.
Sure, sure. Do we have any question? Please raise your hand and come on stage, or you can type your question in the chat box or question box. So we have a question here. Would love to see how you have evolved the living room optimization.
Sure. What's the name of the person? Is that there?
Sanjaya.
Sorry?
Sanya.
Hi, Sanya. Yeah, living room is very, very close to us. Being a premium content player who has a lot of paid content on the platform and really content which people come in from, that is one. Second is, excuse me. Second is, as far as um, the cord cutters are concerned, a lot of people have moved away from television and use the OTT services on the television as the primary device. So we have to deal with two things at the same time. Number one, making it as simple as the set-top box to get into content and to get out of content into something else. That's on one side. The second thing is being able to expose the wide depth of content that we have very seamlessly to the user. And that is a very interesting problem to solve. There's a design problem. Sorry, there's a design problem that we constantly solve. There's a recommendation problem that we solve, because you see, living room, the television is essentially it's a household item. It's not a personal device like a phone. So a user might be okay watching a certain type of content on their phone, but with family around might not want to watch a certain kind of content on television. Also, would not want it to show up. Therefore, how do you create a kid-safe environment on the television for the parents so that young kids don't accidentally stumble upon? So we deal with all of this complexity at the design level, at the features level, by introducing things like kid-safe modes, and then at other features levels like recommendation, to be able to really personalize the experience on the television. And then further on our roadmap, we're also looking at bringing in profiles. This profile will help the users to have very specific content that they consume in their profile.
Great, thank you. So we have another question, but I'm afraid that we're running out of time. So,
No problem.
Rajnil, if you can go to the chat and take it offline.
Sure.
Yeah. All right.
Sure.
Thank you so much, Rajnil, for this presentation. Thank you so
Likewise.
much. We'll be back
Thank you.
soon with another discussion. Thank you.